When the night has come and the land is dark.
This is one of those songs that you can't help but sing along to. I won't put you through that. I won't sing for you. Benny King, Stand By Me, classic of classics. Anyway, it's Thursday. I'm off to a late start. It's past 10 o'clock now. I'm almost going to turn into a pumpkin, but I had this video to do. It's Thursday, July 27th, movie review day. So I wasn't sure what I was going to do until this afternoon. So like I say, I'm a little behind my time, but what I decided was going to do the my top 10 favorite Rob Reiner films. Now, between 1984 and 1986, Rob Reiner was the can't miss kid. Every movie he made, with the exception of North, was a huge hit, got great reviews. It was like he just had the magic pill that made him pick the good projects that were going to be good. And then after 1996, bam, it went the other way, and he hasn't written or directed a hit movie since. The best he's gotten, I think, is one movie that went 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. So don't know what happened to him, but he doesn't seem to be directing anymore. He hasn't directed since 2017. But anyway, in 1984, he started directing, and up until 1996, he was a genius. So I figure we'll give him some props anyway and not try to trash him too bad for the terrible movies he's directed, but he did some excellent work in the early days. So having said that, and I'm going off the cuff today, no notes. So excuse me if I'm not as smooth as I normally am. So I know I'm so smooth behind the microphone. So just bear with me. The first number 10 on the list is LBJ with Woody Harrelson. This was, I've got my banners here. Oh, I don't have one for LBJ. So I think it was like 2016, 2015. He did this. Didn't do well in the theaters. Woody Harrelson plays Lyndon Baines Johnson, the president of the United States who took over after John F. Kennedy was shot. He was president during a big chunk of the Vietnam War, and he was big on civil liberties and civil rights. And I think he passed the Voting Rights Act or the Civil Rights Act. I think the Civil Rights Act. So it was a huge deal at the time. Very progressive president. But I think Woody Harrelson was miscast in this. There's some good cast members here. I'm going to pull it up here. Just give me a second. LBJ cast: Woody Harrelson, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Richard Jenkins. Richard Jenkins you would recognize if you saw him. He's a great character actor. Yeah, that's about it. C. Thomas Howell has a role in it. And yeah, it's, as biopics go, it's okay. It's not a great movie, but I don't think they really delved into his legacy too much. It was more personality based. And so yeah, worth a couple hours of your time if you're so inclined. It's on streaming services, so you can see it for free. That's about as much as I would pay for it, though. So that's your own peril. Now, number 9, the bucket list, 2007. Now, when I saw the trailers for this movie, I thought, oh man, this is going to be great. Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman, two of my favorite actors, just the best of the best. It's got to be good. And then blah. it kind of just floundered, and just Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman are really good in it, but even they can't save bad writing. And just the movie just has all sorts of schmaltzy lines and stereotypical characters, and didn't man, you can, thanks again. If you're gonna stream it, it has some good parts in it. It does, and Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman are very, very good in it. So, yeah, that alone, I guess, would probably make it worth it. Number 8, The American President. Michael Douglas and Annette Bening, really good chemistry. A romantic comedy that kind of is overshadowed by the American political scene, and it goes into like gun control and climate change, and the things that are important to this day. And this was done in 1995, so um, good movie. Just watch with your significant other or your wife. But yeah, a good romantic comedy if you don't take it too seriously and you're allowed to shut your brain off. Now, number 7, Ghosts of Mississippi. This movie was excellent. I saw this movie in the theater and I thought it was really, really good. Alec Baldwin, James Woods, and Whoopi Goldberg are all at their best. It's about the assassination of Medgar Evers, a civil rights activist back in 1963, shot by a white supremacist, and white supremacist was tried twice back in the 60s and had a hung jury both times, all white juries. So it just shows how they're, through a series of progress, they find enough evidence to try him for a third time. And it's much later in the sorry, my brain's sort of faded on me here. It's much later in the years. It's like in 20 years later, they finally get him to go on trial again. And like I say, the James Woods was nominated for an Oscar for this movie for best supporting actor. And yeah, he's he's really good. Because he's a nut bar. It's just like he's you ever see the guy, you just his center dot is a little askew. So he loves these kind of roles that are just kind of off kilter for him. So yeah, good movie. I really enjoyed it, and it's worth seeing for sure. Now, number 6, When Harry Met Sally. Another romantic comedy, but this one is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just so many good lines. Billy Crystal is so good. Um, I gotta go back here again just a sec, because the name of the actress, Billy Crystal, Meg Ryan, right? So yeah, Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan have great chemistry. They they play kind of opposite characters, and how they're uh as time goes on, they kind of get reacquainted. They both get married, and then they divorce, and well, they don't get married to each other. So they each have marriages, then they're divorced, then they meet again, and then they lose touch, and then they meet again, and it just, and the best part of the movie is they have these snippets of these really older couples in their 70s or 80s talking about how they met, and they're all just so cute. Just, it really, really worked, and I really love this movie. I've watched it many times. Oh, number 6, number 5, Misery. Man, this is based on a Stephen King book, and what I liked is that they stuck really close to the story. They didn't change a whole lot, and a little bit, but it was so much like the book that you're satisfied with it. But it comes to life, and Kathy Bates just brings that character of Annie, just it's from the pages of the book to the screen, it's exactly how she's written, and she just absolutely lives that part and becomes that part, and poor James Caan just has to deal with all her BS. But yeah, excellent movie. If you haven't seen it, you really really should. So number 4 on the list. Now you can argue with me about these. I'm open to debate, but now number 4, you might be surprised. It's The Princess Bride. Now, uh I never saw this movie until I think 2 years ago. It was out in 1987, so long after it was released. I just didn't think it'd be a movie that I'd be interested in, but a friend of mine at work said, "You got to watch The Princess Bride." I said, "Well, why?" And she said, "You got to watch The Princess Bride." She wouldn't tell me why, but she just said insisted on it. So I watched it that night and I loved it. I thought it was so good. There's just so many um memorable lines from it, like "as you wish" and "inconceivable" and "my name is Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die." And so, the cast is just amazing. Like he put together like the cast of all casts, and just to name a few, there's Fred Savage and Peter Falk are the grandfather and the grandson. The grandfather tells the grandson this story of the Princess Bride, and in the story, it's Carrie Elwes, Robin Wright, Mandy Patinkin, Chris Sarandon, Christopher Guest, Wallace Shawn, Andre the Giant, Peter Cook, Carol Kane, Billy Crystal. Just goes on, and they're all so good, and it's almost like it's a children's story, but adults love it as well. And I never got the when people would recite lines from the movie, I never got it because I never saw it. But now it all makes sense, when they're saying these lines from the movie, and it's just like, yeah, so good. So if you haven't seen The Princess Bride, you are missing out on something special. So now number 3, Stand By Me. Now, this movie is a classic. This one reaches classic, which is the top shelf on Jerry's list of ratings. So it can't get any higher. This is absolute filmmaking at its best. There's just no weakness in this story or another Stephen King story. Um, but the 4 child actors, River Phoenix, Will Wheaton, Jerry. Oh man, I'm gonna have to look it up again. So give me a second here. Jerry O'Connell and let's see, Will Wheaton, River Phoenix, Corey Feldman, Kiefer Sutherland is in it. He plays the bad guy. He's so good at playing the bad guy. Casey Samashko, John Cusack's in it. Yeah, so just another great cast. Rob Reiner seemed to get all the excellent actors and got the best out of them. So Stand By Me is one of those movies where you're taken back in time, and you relive your childhood through this movie. I mean, the feeling of nostalgia is so great. There's no internet, there's no cell phones, there's only 3 channels on the TV, and yeah, it's yeah, it just takes you right back to those days when they're bullying in school, and good guys and bad guys. It's yeah, it's an excellent movie. And the scene where they go into the pond and get leeches attached to them. It's just so a lot of good laughs, a lot of good drama, a lot of tension. So excellent show. Now, number 2. This was originally going to be my number 1, but I reconsidered and I thought you know what? This one's actually number 2. So it's Few Good Men from hang on, somebody's trying to send me a message here. So get out of there. Bad dog. Oh, so A Few Good Men, 1992. Now, this is one of the most intense movies you'll ever see. Just uh, how can you put it? It's nerve wracking watching it because you you kind of can sense what's coming, but you're not exactly sure. And the writing is so good, the acting is top notch. Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore. There's a few more. Hang on, I gotta Wikipedia again. A Few Good Men. Demi Moore, Kevin Bacon, Kiefer Sutherland again, Kevin Pollak, JT Walsh in one of his last roles. He's another one of those character actors you'll recognize, but you may not know his name. Noah Wiley's in it, Cuba Gooding Jr., Christopher Guest. Yeah, just another great cast. And I saw Kevin Pollak interviewed, and he was talking about how they were making the courtroom scene in A Few Good Men, and Jack Nicholson was on the stand, and he's doing, "You can't handle the truth," and they had to do several takes of each character in that scene. So Jack Nicholson did his scene doing that. You were glad I'm on that wall. You want me on that wall. And he's just going through his whole diatribe there. And so he was done. He didn't have to be on set anymore. They said, okay, well, you can go. We'll put somebody else there for everybody else. And he insisted on staying and doing and Kevin Pollak said he did it as intensely every single time. He went through it probably 10 or 12 times, and he just, you want me on that wall. And just like, so every time he did it the exact same way. He said, and when Rob Reiner says, you don't have to do this. He said, Rob, I love to act. That's probably the worst Jack Nicholson impression ever, but like Kevin Pollak did it so well. It made me laugh out loud. I love to act. So so I thought that was pretty funny. And but that scene, the courtroom scene, man, intensity personified. It just, man, it doesn't get any better, and it gives you goosebumps when you watch it. So I bought the DVD, the Blu-ray. I'm gonna watch it again. So anyway, now the number one Rob Reiner movie for me, favorite one, and you may not agree with this at all, but this is Spinal Tap. So this is one of the funniest movies you'll ever see. Just it, man, it just you you think you know what it's like to be in a rock band. Well, this will tell you, and it just uh if all rock stars were stupid, to me, this would be what it would be like. So uh just just they play a heavy metal rock band that's been around for years and years, and it's a make believe documentary. I think they call it a rockumentary, and they just follow Spinal Tap around and their interactions with each other. And they it's so funny. There's one scene where guy's playing the piano, and it's a really nice little uh nice thing, like it's a love song in the making. And Rob Reiner, who actually plays the director of the documentary in the movie, he says, "Oh, that is so beautiful. What is that called?" He goes, "It's called Lick My Love Pump." And one other thing, I'll just give you one more where they're talking, because they keep going through more drummers than Pearl Jam, and they say they're asking them, how the drummers died, and they said, "Well, this latest drummer died when he choked on somebody else's vomit." When I heard that line for the first time, I nearly died. It's so funny. And so there's just, so the Michael McKean and Christopher Guest, and let me get it for you. Harry Shearer. They play the the musicians, and they actually play their own instruments, so which was an amazing thing there. And they've done shows as Spinal Tap. They play live, and it's it's so good. Not too many. Bruno Kirby's in it. Ed Begley Jr. Danny Korchmar is he's actually a very well known guitarist and producer. Fran Drescher, who was the nanny. Patrick McNee's. What was that show called? God, I hate it when I draw a blank. Mrs. Peel and oh, the Avengers. Oh yeah, thank you. Dana Carvey's in it. Billy Crystal has a small part. Howard Hessman, who was Dr. Johnny Fever on WKRP in Cincinnati. Paul Schaefer, who was David Letterman's musician friend. So yeah, all these people are in it. It's absolutely stellar movie. Like you won't stop laughing. It's just so much fun, this movie. And it was his first one. So anyway, that's it. I am looking forward to this week's or next week, early next week, Monday's book review. I'm going to have something special for you. I'm going way, way, way off topic. You won't even be able to guess where I'm going. So it's a book that I've read a couple of times, and it's a very fascinating read, and yeah, you'll be extremely surprised what what I've got for you on Monday morning. So excuse me, sorry. Hit the like button, please. We're gonna finish up. Hit the like button, subscribe if you can, tell your friends. I will be posting this in a little bit, so probably before midnight, just to get it in under the wire. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on Monday.
So darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me.
Stand by me, damn it.
Stand by
It's an order. Yeah.
It's
See you Monday.
That we look upon should tumble and fall.